Hi, and thank you for joining me for another layout for 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life, round 15. And today's sketch is by the lovely Aprilynne Bishop Barrett. You can see it in the top left-hand corner there. So I've decided to document a photo that I took on our trip to New York in December of Trinity Church at the top of Wall Street. So first of all, I'm grabbing my travel collections. It's predominantly here and there from Simple Stories, and the latest travel from 49er Market. I think it wherever, whenever. I forget. I get so confused. The words seem very similar. So I've cut a strip of the paper and added it to the right hand side there, and then the church photo is going to be layered onto that ephemera piece. The orange ribbon that I've got behind, or the braid, is my lovely friend who comes to our crop went to Goa, and she supports a local charity there, a school that they have for children in the slums. And Jackie and I arranged a charity event at our crop, and when she came back, Suzanne, she brought us a lovely bag of goodies, including these wonderful trims. And I know I've been hoarding them, but I thought the orangey red shining from the centre of the window in that church just reminded me of these trims, and I had to get it out to use on this layout. So I'm just roughing up the edges of the papers and getting those stuck down. You can see I've added some rub-ons to the top and bottom of the photo, and that emulates the 3 photos that Aprilynne has on her sketch. I just wanted to use this single photo on this layout. So I'm not going to waste any of this trim. I'm just cutting off a piece to add above and another piece to add below the photo, rather than using the full 12 inches that I've got there. So just adding a bead of glue underneath the paper and then tucking the very edge underneath to make it neat, and then doing the same at the bottom. And for this layout, I really wanted to create my own mixed media background. So I'm just setting everything up on the right hand side, and then I'm going to come in with my mixed media shortly on the left hand side, and you'll see how I do that. I wanted to stay in keeping with the 49er Market designs that they have, and you'll see how I do that. First of all, this is one of our border dies, the what are they? The hand-drawn borders, I think it is, and I just cut that in black cardstock, and I'm adding that as an accent to the right hand side of that orange trim. Just getting that stuck down with my Nuvo, and then in a minute I shall start on the background. I'm keeping the photo loose at the moment because I want to add the background going behind that. So the first thing I want to do is create these circular elements that you see on a lot of 49er Market papers and ephemera pieces. So I grabbed a pair of compasses, and with a pencil I'm just drawing concentric circles going smaller and smaller towards the photo. And this is almost like a radar screen on a plane, isn't it? I really love this shape. So just, as I say, recreating that using a pencil and a pair of compasses, and then I'll use my T-square ruler to draw. I messed up a bit there, so just rubbing that out, to draw lines along this. Now, I would have loved to have done this with my grey pen rather than my pencil, but it didn't fit in my pair of compasses, so I had to make do with just using a pencil. But hopefully it'll have longevity. I don't think there are any issues with using pencil on scrapbook layouts, and I'm not too precious about using all acid and lignin free products, so it's fine. So just finishing off that look, and that's the start, that's the basis of my layout, and that's the circular element that you can see on Aprilynne's sketch as well. So now I'm coming in with the script stamp from Hey Little Magpie, and I'm using weathered wood, which is like a beautiful grey, and just rolling the stamp up and adding stamped images all over the page. I don't want any harsh edges, and that's why I'm rolling it up slightly. And I'm using 2nd, 3rd, 4th generation stamping to get those different depths of colour. Now coming in with Lost Shadow and a grid stamp. This is a Darkroom Door grid stamp, and just adding this about the page as well. Once again, not adding ink all over the stamp because I want it to look, just to fade into the background really. This is the background of my page, it's not the main feature. So just stamping that around. And then once that's done, I come in with another stamp. This is an All in Create stamp, and it's got some lovely hearts on the right hand side. So I just want to use the Lost Shadow again and just add some of those hearts about the page. You barely see them. It's just enough to add a little bit more interest. And you can see all of these different stamped images are slowly building up on that background now. So now I want to add some watercolour, so I'm just watering down those colours that I've used already. First of all, the Lost Shadow, and just adding some splatters about the page. I keep bringing the photo in just to check that I'm happy with the positioning of everything, and then moving it out the way so that it doesn't get all splatters all over it. And now I'm coming in with Speckled Egg because I really wanted this pale greeny blue to be added to the background. So first of all I splattered it over the page, and then I'm just blending that into the paper just to give a really subtle watercolour effect. And I'm not being precious about how to do it, just literally moving that paintbrush around the page, blending those spots into the paper. So I've left that to dry, and you can see the final result. It looks really effective. So now I'm bringing in my Ellie Studio large Jane outlined alphabet stamp. Gosh, that's a mouthful. And a scrap of card, because I thought I was going to use that as my ruler to stamp down onto, and I'm going to spell out Trinity Church, but I shall start with the Y and work backwards from the edge of the photo. I still haven't stuck that down yet because it allows me to move things once I've got the stamping down. So I'm using my archival ink pad so that I can add watercolour to this afterwards, and it won't bleed at all because it's a permanent ink. Now that first Y, I managed to stamp the bottom of it onto the cardstock, so I decided that wasn't really a great success using that. So I'm just going to eyeball it to start with. So I add the T, and then I do bring in my T-square ruler because I'm worried that I'm going to go off on a slope if I don't have something to guide me. I thought the ruler was going to get in the way if I use that as my edge to stamp onto, but actually it works perfectly. So I won't make you watch all of that. So that's Trinity down, and now I'm going to put Church underneath, starting with the H directly underneath the Y and then working my way back. So that's the title down. I am going to colour that in, as I mentioned, with watercolours, but while I was waiting for the paints to dry previously, I pulled out this film strip piece, again from the 49er Market collection, and I'm just going to add that as another layer to the right hand side there. I know that Aprilynne hasn't got anything next to her photos on the left hand side because I've mirrored her sketch, if I didn't mention that before, but I just felt that I wanted some layers underneath there. So now I've grabbed these tiny Lily Bee sticker sheet. This is ancient, but they're beautiful stickers, and I just wanted to put Wall Street as my subtitle. And then I'm coming in with some foam pads to finally get that photo stuck down. So these are the 25mm Sticks 2 foam pads. They're absolutely brilliant. We sell them at Hey Little Magpie. They come on a huge roll and last forever. But they're just so easy to use. You're not having to faff about cutting foam up and getting foam all over your scissors. So just making sure that I'm happy with the positioning of this photo and getting that stuck down. And now I'm going to do my watercolouring on the title. So first of all, I've come in with Uncharted Mariner, and I'm just roughly colouring this in. I want it to look really rough and ready, going over the edges of the stamped images and having darker and lighter pieces. So first of all I use Uncharted Mariner, and then once that's down and it's started to dry, I do come back in with Speckled Egg, which you'll see shortly. But when I've finished doing the lettering, I do come in with some splatters just for continuity and to bring that colour around the page a little bit more. So just finishing off and then adding some more water, and this is where I splatter. So fairly controlled, just around the edges of everything that I've got on the page, so around the edges of the title and the edges of the papers, but not in the other blank spaces. So this is, as I say, now the Speckled Egg, and I'm just adding a little bit of that to the letters, and it really brings in something different. It adds more dimension to those letters and to the page. So just filling in the blanks, really overlapping and making sure that everything's covered. This is more of a greeny blue, where the Uncharted Mariner is definitely a cool blue. So it's bringing in a little bit of warmth there. Probably should have cut some of this out. Sorry, I hadn't realised that I'd left so much into the video. I'm nearly there. And then I should do the same with this and add some splatters, because most of those splatters that I added on the first round when I was creating the background, I did smear out into the background as watercolour pieces. So just adding a little bit more here. And because this is a paler blue, I do add some of those splatters out more towards the blank spaces. So I wanted to add a tag underneath the photo, just for a little bit of interest, and as a grounding piece to add some ephemera pieces too. To add a cluster, that's the word I was looking for. I seem to have lost my words today. This is the second voiceover that I'm doing, and I think it's too much. So this is a word phrase from Vicky Boutin's travel collection, and it says joy in the smallest moments. And it was a joy to see this church all lit up. It was really beautiful. We'd had a long day of walking and it was so lovely to see. So a little word piece there that says we're never leaving, and then a tab up here which I decided I wanted to back with one of my black EK Success tab punch pieces, just to give it a little bit of definition and make it pop a little bit more on the page. So stamping the date directly onto that tag from 49er Market, and then tucking that in the top there. This is one of our flare badges from Hey Little Magpie from the Here and There collection, and it just says travel, so I thought that would be cute to add. And then one of James's JD 3D print wood cameras. I love this big geo tag, so I wanted to add that to the bottom left. That's from 49er Market. And then these stickers once again are from Vicky Boutin's collection, and it just says I just want to travel and experience new things. And then on the right hand side I've added this is the story. The black piece that I'm adding to the left here says vacation photos, and then another one that says discovery. So adding some black twine to that tag just so that it's not empty. And again, it's adding a different texture to the page. And then coming in with my journaling. So my journaling just reads, we were too tired to stop and look at Trinity Church, as hadn't even planned this route, but we will be back to explore some more next time. So now adding a little bit more stamping. So I've come in one of the Hey Little Magpie stamp sets. This is the direction stamp, and these little arrows are perfect just for drawing attention to the photo and adding a little bit more black around the page. So just adding some strips up there, and they're great because you can continue the strips if you want to. So overlapping the arrows, and then bringing in another one with different arrows to add to the bottom here, just pointing to Wall Street. And then above the photo as well, just to bring that black up there. And another one just underneath that tag at the bottom, overlapping that rub-on. And that does it. Please do check the description box down below to see everybody else who's joining in on this fabulous hop. And I'll add Aprilynne's details as well if I can find them. And I shall see you again very soon. Thanks again. Bye.